There we go. Fourth episode of Rob Novellin's Real Talk. I'm here with Dave Vacca. Now, I didn't think you'd come on here because I told the man, I was like, I gotta get Dave on here. Gotta get him on. She goes, Dave's not gonna come on here. I was like, why? She goes, he doesn't seem like the type of person. And I was like, I'm gonna get him on. And I was like, and now I did this with Noah, my second guest, because I was like, he doesn't know this, and I've never told him this. When I first met you, I thought your last name was Vodka.
Like most people.
Yeah, I was like, it's David Vodka. And my mom was like, your friend's last name is Vodka? And I said, yeah. She goes, does he drink? And I was just like, yay. Yeah. So, there's many reasons to have this person on. I've known him for about, how many years have I known you for? How many fucking years have I known you?
12, about.
12 years. We both used to be in a drug-induced coma, but now we're both clean, which is awesome. Especially him. I drink a little bit. He doesn't drink at all, which I commend you for, because that's freaking hard to do. I drink every podcast. In fact, it's about time for the Naughty Water. I call it Naughty Water because it's like British naughty water. I wanted to get absinthe tonight. I found some at the market.
Really?
Yeah, I found absinthe. I was like, holy shit, I gotta get some. You can swear on here if you want to. Just know, I've told people, because I was like, I don't know how people get no racial slurs. I was like, none of that.
Rob's anti-racial podcast.
Yes, Rob's anti-racial. Now, I think one thing I definitely want to talk to you about, because I was like, when I heard about it, I was like, oh my God, that's happening in the world. Oh, tastes like syrup.
Scissor.
I should have got Captain Morgan, man. I got this Admiral Nelson's. It's like the knockoff version. It costs like $12. I should have got the whiskey. So the first thing I want to talk to you about that I really want to address, because it's like I've met so many people I've met disagree with me, and then so many more people agree. How do you feel about defunding the police?
How do I feel about defunding the police?
Yeah, do you think...
You look around and see where police are needed most.
Yeah.
That is high crime areas, such as, inner city, lower income areas. And, if we really strip police departments' budgets, that's mostly going to affect the high crime areas. I highly doubt that your more wealthy, the more wealthy neighborhoods, the towns that have higher income neighborhoods.
Yeah.
They're not going to see the cuts. It's going to be people like the RPD, the NYPD,
yeah.
the Portland, Oregon, their police department, things like that. Would lead me to believe that more violent crime would go unchecked. Apparently, the crime has gone up in Minneapolis after a supposed defunding the police. So, do I think that police is the person to respond to someone who's having a mental health crisis? Not necessarily. I think that there should be a mental health professional that accompanies the police officer. The police officer can be there if and only if things start to get violent. Mental health professional can use their
talk somebody down,
use their psychological knowledge,
losing their shit,
especially mental health issues. But if someone's high on drugs and stuff, a cop going at that person, they're tripping out.
Yeah, so it's gonna make it
trip out even more, and it's gonna escalate until the cop kills the person.
I'm happy you feel that. I'm happy you feel that way. A lot of people don't, and I'm like, you know anybody that's mentally ill, and they're all like, excuses. Mental illness is an excuse, and I'm like, I had a mood disorder. I was like, the last person to show up for me, I want to be a cop, and I'm flipping out.
Right, if you're having a mental episode.
Because I'm getting shot if I'm flipping out, because they're like, this person's out of their damn mind. If I was a cop, I think that, like, this person's gonna, like, fucking attack me.
Right. Yeah, because they panic. They don't know how to act.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell's going on? And the first thing they do is that. It's not right, but
Now,
it it happens.
no, you've known me a long time. My opinion's always stayed the same, but changed a tiny bit about cops. I used to hate them,
Correct.
and then I started to like them more and respect them. When I met a few, and I was like, "Damn, your job is hard, man. You put that badge on, and you're like risking your life just by pulling someone over." Now, I vote, and this is the way I truly feel, and it's not. I don't think it's necessarily the police's fault or a cop if they get the job. It's not their fault. Um, I've heard it's harder to get a job at Disneyland than it is as a cop, which I think is
Sounds
horrible.
accurate. Yeah, it's pretty
I think it's
messed up.
horrible because it's like you got a gun and you can use that if you feel unsafe. Now, I could never be a cop. I can say it right now. I don't have the balls to do it. The cops that do, I salute the hell out of them because I work as a freaking don't say where I work. I can't say it on here. I don't know. I don't know how they feel about me saying it. Corona. I also found out coronavirus is different than COVID-19. You can get the virus. There's a difference between getting the virus and actually being infected by it. And I was like, what the hell? I looked that up a few days ago, and I was like, how's that possible? And I guess I forgot who it was. It was like a not scientist, but somebody was talking about the difference between why they call it coronavirus and COVID-19. You can get the virus that you're infected by. But you can get COVID that, the people that don't actually get sick by it. It's like HIV and AIDS kind of thing. Not literally it's not like a sex disease, because now I sound stupid. It's like to where some people they get it, but it never affects them. And then some other people get it and they die from it. Or almost die from it. I found there's a difference between corona and COVID, but it's the same damn thing.
Well, I mean, there's some people that are asymptomatic, but
yeah.
it all depends. Coronaviruses have existed before COVID. COVID is a novel strain of that virus, so it's not like your common strain of coronavirus, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna act like I know what the heck I'm talking about when it comes to different types of strains of that. But the COVID-19 strain, there were two main strains.
Now I heard that coronavirus has been around since the 80s, but it's getting huge now. I've heard that from a few places. Well, I don't know how true it is.
I mean, the actual coronaviruses have been around probably as long as the common cold or influenza or something. Yeah. It's just this new strain that came out of nowhere, however, has completely wreaked havoc on the world, and it's caused businesses to fail, and alcoholics in recovery to relapse, and suicide rates going up during the initial lockdowns and stuff. It's really screwed everything up.
Yeah.
And things are getting better now, but I mean, I just hope it doesn't get worse.
Oh, definitely. No, I know what you mean, because if it gets worse, there's so much that you can't do. If it gets worse, I am affected because I can't do Uber. Because I don't want to go out there with all that shit going on.
Right.
I think the people that are most affected, which brings us back to the main topic, I want to stay on for a little bit. Police, they have to be around people all day, and there's people that spit on them. There's actually people that do that. And
I don't think that's too common, though.
No, I know, but that's happened though. Like Daniel Prude, I guess, was spitting on cops before he got killed.
Oh yeah, saying that he had coronavirus.
Yeah. Now I've had a few people ask me how I felt about Daniel Prude, and I obviously was not there. Now I've seen the video, but I've seen videos of stuff before where I actually knew what happened, and I was like, that's not how it went down at all. I've seen videos of people being assaulted, and I'm like, I know exactly how it went. The person that everybody feels bad for is actually the one who brought it all on themselves. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying Daniel Prude brought it on himself, but if I was not just the skin color I am now, if I was walking naked in the street and flipping out, and I don't know exactly if he was flipping out, I just heard he's walking naked in the street, and to me, if you're walking in the street naked, you're out of your fucking mind. Something's going on where either you're drunk,
you're fucked up,
you're mentally ill, something, and I don't know what was going on with him, so I can't comment on that, but I heard he was naked and started spitting on cops saying he had a COVID. And it was when it was fresh, when people were scared shitless, where now they're pissed off and they're like, fuck the mask. And it's we need we need masks so this shit doesn't spread. And from the video I saw, they put the bag over his head and he suffocated, which I think is horrible. I don't think you should lose your life.
He didn't suffocate from the spit, like
Oh,
whatever the heck it's called.
okay.
I think they were applying pressure,
Oh,
on his back or something that restrained his airflow. It was some type of he was being restrained, which caused asphyxiation. So he pretty much suffocated.
yeah.
I don't think it was the spit hood itself. I mean, if
I think I've seen spit hoods.
if a motherfucker's spitting, acting all crazy, saying he's got
The
coronavirus.
procedure is to put the bag over his head so he doesn't spit. And I've seen those bags because when I was put in St. Mary's, I had one of those put over my head, and I could breathe fine. Like, I had no issue with breathing. It was very ventilated. So my guess is they must have somehow, like, put it, I don't know what they did. I think it's horrible. And I'm not laughing because I think it's horrible. I'm laughing because I'm thinking about when I had the bag on me in St. Mary's. And I felt like an idiot sitting in the hospital bed. I felt so. I'm just like sitting there. I tell the cop, "Is this my fault?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I was fucking 18. I just brought me back. To anybody who's like, "Why is he laughing about this?" It's because I had that happen to me. Just sitting there, handcuffed like a retard. Just like, "Hey, officer," and just sitting in the hospital bed, handcuffed to it.
And so me and Rob have done some funny things back in the day.
He sent me a picture of his shit less than a week ago. Him shitting in the park. That's how far we go back. That's how you know you're comfortable.
I'm not going to offer any sort of commentary about that. I will deny the validity of that statement.
You'll deny the validity
in a public park to defecate is unlawful, and let it be known.
I never said where it was. I just said you sent a picture of your shit.
No, you said in the park.
Oh, I did.
I wouldn't take a shit in the park. Even if it was an emergency, I would run towards the John.
Yeah, Dave wouldn't take a shit in the park.
I would run towards the John. That's what I'm saying.
Well, so I'm gonna say what I did about
Rob likes to
embellish. So 10 years ago,
I don't even know what that means.
I took a bit to stretch the truth, embellish. So it's about a little over, I'd say 10 to 12 years ago. I was in a creek and I was drunk, and this kid was with me.
No, we weren't drunk in the creek.
I was high.
Under that bridge. Probably. We were probably smoking weed.
Yeah, you don't remember. So I just remember, I feel like I'm going to fall off the rocks. But I took my phone out. I don't not like this anymore at all. This is like me from a decade ago when I was like really stupid.
There was some funny ass shit, I'll tell you
I
that
took
right
my
now.
phone out and I set it to where I could see my butt. And I squatted down and I had to poop. And I recorded it and sent it to about 10 people.
Now,
and all these people I worked with. And one of them was my wife. She wasn't my wife back then. We were just friends. And when I got to work the next day, everybody is giving me dirty looks. And I was like, "What happened?" And they're like, look at the last message you sent me." And I was like, "Oh my God." And the one girl goes, "I thought that was your armpit." And you were squeezing something out of it. Yeah. Oh, I got a bug on my wall. Oh, cool.
So the funny thing is that when he mentioned that to me about saying like I was drunk and I sent it to people, I actually remembered I was there with you that day when we were both getting drunk.
Yeah. And
you were there, and I actually, if I recall correctly, Hillary Hemrick, if you see this video, I'm sorry, but I told Rob to send that shit to you. I said, send it to Hillary. So send it to Hillary.
Oh my God.
That was one of them. I remember that. I told her.
I wasn't going to mention.
Hey, yo, send it to these people. Freaking Hillary.
I was not going to mention anybody's name on the podcast.
Oh.
Don't worry. You're fine. You're fine. I mentioned a lot of people. I mentioned a lot of people on the last one because I was drunk. I actually mentioned your name, not your last name, but I mentioned your first name and about drugs we did. Because I was telling Noah, I was like, we would go down to get that, we call it legals, but it was the spike,
yeah.
the K2. And we asked the guy Mike down there, "What's up, Mike from West Side Smoke Shop?" It's not your last. I'm not saying your last name, so I can't get in trouble. And we said, "What's your strongest new stuff?" And he's like, "Spicy Green 2012."
Oh
And I
man.
also mentioned that in the last episode too. And I remember he said, "We got the 12 and we got the 24," and we went with the 24. And we both bought a bag of it. We both each bought our own bags, and we did it. And I said this in the last podcast too, but I said it vaguely. We had, if you're wondering what that noise is, it's rain on my air conditioner. It's raining. I love it. We got in. We smoked the stuff, and we felt like we were gonna die. And we got in these two girls' cars. Well, in this one girl's car, and there were two girls in it that we worked with. And I remember us flipping out like, "Oh my god, we feel like we're gonna die. We just smoked this stuff." And I told the one girl, "I always liked you. I wanted to fuck you. I just wanted you to let you know that in case I die." And then the other girl, who has the same name as my wife's name, but isn't the same person, obviously. Her name was also Amanda. I'm not saying the last name. I told her, "I hate your guts. I hope you die." Because I thought I was dying, and I was like, this girl needs to know how I feel about her. I think her voice is fucking annoying.
That it was.
And and it was like Mindy Kaling's voice from The Office. And after we felt like we weren't going to die anymore, we smoked more, and then we ran out, so we went and bought more bags that day. And
Yeah,
then we were like,
different though.
Then we were like, we have a problem. But one day we were smoking it at his house, and he had his own room, so we were like, "Hey, let's smoke some legals on your bed." We're just sitting there smoking them, and next thing we know, we feel like we're dying, and we're like, "Let's call poison control." And then we decided to hold off until
2013, the best year of my life. I would give anything to have those days back.
Me too. I told the man of that. I told
prior to the governmental restrictions, when I worked at fucking fast food and didn't have a worry in the world, and I can go into a smoke shop and buy my drug of choice and have it be relatively safe to use. I never had any scary episodes, truly scary episodes.
I did.
Until after.
I think for me it was because because I heard it affected everyone different. Like some kids died from it. I think though our tolerances were so up there that it like took a lot. I don't know if you did this at night when you're like by yourself. I would always like pack the bowl, the bong very fat with it, and then I'd take one huge hit, and then I'd lay in bed and have that burning in my throat. And while I was laying there, I felt myself sinking into the bed, like being eaten by it. And here's the thing. In my mind, my body was shutting down. I was dying. I was losing consciousness. And I would just lay there. And then once it wore off,
you want to do more?
Take like 20 minutes to wear off. But I would like finally felt better. I'd get cold sweats. Finally feel better. And then I'd have to do more. He just farted. We need that on the podcast. I did it so many times last time. And I was like, I need to do more. Oh my god. Yeah. You sure he didn't do drugs before?
He has, I'm sure.
But yeah, that was, I remember the time. It got dark though, it got dark. He came over my house one time. Yeah, you came over and you did some, and I was like, I'm just gonna smoke my weed. And you're like, man, fuck that, I got that new G20. And you did it. No, it was the Neutronium. Oh, you did I would have the Orgasmo because the Neutronium was too much for me. And I remember you did the Neutronium, and after you did it, your body, I don't know if you remember this or not, you probably don't remember it. You probably really don't, because I told you before, and you're like, that didn't happen. And it's like my dad was like, yeah, it did. You were sitting in an egg chair I had like this. Like you were like really like you were sitting like this, but like asleep. And I was like, Dave, and I like tried to move your head, and it was like your head would not move.
Oh,
and I was like, Dave, and then I moved your arm. When I moved your arm, it was like this. Whole body moved,
What the heck?
If I went like this to your hand, your entire body moved with it. And I was just like, you're stiff. What the
Jeez.
fuck? And I was tripping out. So I called my dad and I'm smacking Dave in the face. I'm shaking him and he's not moving like an inch. I was like, what the hell's going on? And my dad says to me, like, check his pulse. And I was like, how the fuck do I check someone's pulse? And he's like, go like this on his neck. So I did, and I didn't feel shit. So I'm like this. I didn't hear or feel anything. And I was like, his heart's not fucking beating. What do I do? And my dad goes, can you pick him up? And I was like, can I pick Dave up? And he's like, pick him up, put him in the bathtub, and turn the cold water on. Have him sitting there, and then get ice and just keep dumping it in. And I was just like, what if he wakes up and gets pissed off? He goes like, that's not the point. He's gonna wake up. That's the point. He's gonna wake up. And I was like, how do you know how to do this? He's like, I have had friends who've needed this. He's like, heroin addicts. You gotta wake him the fuck up right now. And I was like, what's the cold water doing? He goes, it's gonna shock his body back. And I was like, so I'm freaking out, getting a bunch of ice. My dad fucking rings the door about like a minute later after he hangs up, and he's taking water from the sink in pans and pouring it into the fucking thing and pouring it on your face. Finally, you jolt awake. You're like, what the fuck's going on? And my dad gave you a towel, and it was like when we told you what happened after finally getting back to normal. You're like, what happened? And I was like, you did the neutronium, and you like died. And you're like, man, get the fuck out of here. And then you literally went and did more. And my dad's like, he's not gonna learn from this. Just let him do it.
It took me a while. Things got really bad.
It got bad.
I got my shit together.
I think for anybody who's experienced addiction, it gets really horrible before it gets better. But I have found every addict I've ever talked to, no matter how clean they've gotten, they love talking about the stories. And not to like to brag about it or to be like, yeah, I did this, it was fun as hell. But it's almost like because you're not doing it anymore, you're like, I did this and this actually happened to me and I experienced it, but I'm not doing it anymore. But I actually went through that crazy shit.
Yeah.
And like not indulging in it, but like, holy shit, I had this experience. I need to talk about it because it was fucking crazy.
Yeah, no, that one time in my house, at the old house, when we were doing the neutronium, well, we were both over there. We're both tripping out. And the both of us tripping out was probably making things worse because we're probably making ourselves more nervous. And so here we are tripping out, and Rob comes up with the idea that we should call poison control. So we're both tripping out, and he's like, dude, should we call poison control? And I was just over here tripping out, being like, no, not yet. We're let's just get a little more time and see if we're good. Like we're good, not yet. But wasn't that the same day that we were like fucking both in my bed with the covers over us because like we were cold? Do you remember that?
So here's what fully happened because I remember that very well. You had a song on, and you couldn't take it anymore. You put a song on your laptop, you couldn't take it. Like, as in mentally, you could not handle what you were hearing.
You're tripping out.
So you handed me your bong, the big red one. You handed it to me, and next thing I knew, I was like, Dave, and I felt really not gay, but just like, wow, that's like, why are you acting that way? I was like, Dave, help me, and I was like touching your arm, and I was like, help me, because I was like, I need comfort from somebody, and then I was like, it took the bong, and it took so much effort to put it on the floor. Like, because I was like, I'm gonna spill it, so I put it on the floor, and then we closed your laptop. Because we were like, that's what the problem is. That noise is fucking with us so hard.
God, you're right. Yeah.
And then we put the blanket over us because we were freezing. And you were like, yo, not to be gay, but sit near me. And I was like, why? And you're like, I'm freezing my ass off. And it's like, why are we so cold? It's like not even winter. And it was like, it literally made it to where we feel like, I think like something was happening to our bodies to where I was like, we were getting cold from it. Which I think is probably really bad.
That's some scary shit, actually.
Oh, yeah. Then I threw up 32 times in that one parking lot.
That was alcohol related.
Yes, I took, it was 2 Four Locos.
Was that my high school graduation night, or was that different?
That was different. At high school graduation night, you shit your pants outside.
I did, and the neighbor called the leasing office on me.
And you didn't even get that much trouble.
I did not.
Dana's just like, hey, don't do it again. Just don't do it again.
Love Dana.
I miss her so much. And oh, don't mention my neighbor's name on this. Noah went to, and I was like, whoa! I was like, I can't legally talk about that on the podcast for all the shit that happened. But yeah, I took his buddy Twan, rest in peace, Twan, because he unfortunately we lost him a while back, which sucks, but you know he was there to experience this great night. So Twan, there's me to drink 2 Four Locos and 2 tilts. He's like, you pussy, I bet you can't. You pussy, I bet you can't do it. And I was like, fuck you, I can do it. And I did it. And he's like, I know we can do it. I just wanted to see him do it. I took these big plastic cups and I would dump an entire Four Loco in and just chug it all the way down. And I did that with 2 Four Locos and the 2 tilts. And then I started vomiting like crazy. And then you had to keep moving because I threw up 32 times because I kept counting. I was like 15.
Started to run out of places to move
16.
to. It was pretty rough.
So the whole apartment complex, every corner of it's filled with piles of vomit. And it's 4 in the morning. No, it was 2 in the morning. You dropped me off at my car, and they're like, don't drive. And I was like, okay. So I put the key in the ignition, turned the car on, turned the heat on, and it was winter. I had my left leg out the door, my right leg in. I had the door open because I needed the cold air hitting me while having the heat on, just so I get that mixed. And I was just laying there like this, and the next thing I know, I wake up, the light's on, and my car won't start. I had it on, but not the engine, and it was like the air conditioning worked without the engine on, which made no fucking sense. So I get upstairs, I look at it's 4 in the morning, and I was like, holy shit, and it was like a Saturday, so I didn't have to work. And I get upstairs, my mom's like, where have you been all night? And I was like, Mom, I'm hungover. And this is hold on, I left something out.
Yeah.
When I went up, you know how we had to go up the steps, because the first apartment I lived in, it was the second floor. Walking up those steps, I don't know whether it took 27 minutes or 2 hours. Because I remember my mom left for work at 6 a.m. And at 4 in the morning, I woke up from my car. And then I started walking to the apartment, which was 20 feet away from my car. And when I got to the steps, I had to crawl up them slowly because of that feeling of being so hungover, you can't stand up. And moving shakes your head. So I'm just slowly crawling up with my eyes closed. And then when I get upstairs, my mom goes, I have to leave for work in 5 minutes. Where have you been all night? I've been worried. And she said, I haven't answered my phone. And I was like, wait a minute, what time is it? And she said it was almost 6 o'clock. It took me, I think, 2 hours to get up the steps. And it's like, which means I fell asleep on the steps. And when I woke up, I felt so much like shit. I like legitimately thought I was gonna die. Like you're just laying there going,
Wait,
and it was like I'm never drinking again.
Oh wait, what was the day I came over with someone? I can't remember who it was.
You came over with Nick,
and you were laying on the ground with a fucking steel pot on the kitchen floor where the fucking vomited. Laying on the kitchen. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Laying on.
Alright. Do you remember the time that my mom I told you she was asleep? Oh. I told you my mom was asleep, and you said you were going to take a hit in the living room, and you were like, don't worry, I won't let it out. You took the biggest fucking hit to where it was white. You take the whole thing in, and you lay on the ground in the fetal position like this, and you started shaking your whole body, and then you went over to the patio and opened it up and blew it out. Your whole face was red.
Oh my gosh. You know, some of those days you throw up, man. I just remember like it would be like so much you would fill up the pot. What the fuck?
One morning, when Amanda and I worked at McDonald's when we first started dating, she didn't know how much of an alcoholic I was back then. And I tried to hide it from her. She, and for a while I got clean. But one night, her and I went really hard, like really hard. And you know how, for me, it's like vomiting is like spitting?
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten to that point. I wake up, I pick up a glass, and she's like, "There's nothing to drink in there," and I was like, "I know," and I went, "Ah!" Filled it up about a half inch from the top. She goes, what the fuck did you just do?" And I was like, I gotta throw up so I don't feel hungover for work.
Dude, I remember you like throw up in the cups.
I would drink the whole thing, and then I just go, and people go, "Did he just..." So I'm not proud of this because it's done a lot of damage to the lining of my esophagus.
Oh my gosh.
That will never recover. I get a lot of heartburn. And I would pretty much get so drunk, I'd do the whole boot and rally, but like my own version of it, to where I'd finish a cup of alcohol and I'd be so drunk I'd throw up into it. It would be like this. And then I put it down. And then I'd start the next one. And it just became so normal.
Oh,
and
man.
then one of my friends was like, "Yo, that's not healthy." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You're doing that so relaxed, like you've done it a million times." And I was like, "I have."
Yeah. Yo, what was that one day that you that you ended up going home? You ended up walking home from work that one day. I remembered when it was, but then I forgot, and I'm trying to remember again.
You know the bridge by the chiropractors across from CVS
Yes.
in Greece?
Yes.
I was walking over that bridge because I said I didn't feel good. And Katie was like, "Well, you can't just go home." And I was like, I feel like I'm going to vomit. And you're like, "Yo, you should just try to toughen it out." And I was like, "I can't do it." I was like, "I got to go home." And I was hungover. I start walking home. You actually, I guess, told Jody or somebody you forgot something from your house. Like, you literally did. And I texted you saying I feel like shit. And you're like, "Yo, I'm on my way back home." And you had my house key from that night because I was so drunk. I think you locked the door because you needed the key for some reason and forgot to give it back to me. And I was like, "Yo, I need my house key to get back in my house." So you're like, "Okay, where are you?" And I said, "I'm taking a shit." And you're like, "Where? You're not. You can't. You're locked out of your house. Where are you shitting?" And right past that bridge, where the trees meet, right before there's that person's house to the left. I went in that little like thing of woods where there's barely any woods, where people from the street probably saw someone taking a shit, and I just started crapping, and it was like straight diarrhea. Not to get too gross. It's real talk. And I remember I started walking up, and I finally get to the patio, and I was like walking hungover is like walking in hell as a Holocaust victim. Like, oh my God, I literally like cannot wait till it's over. Like, I want to die. And I get there and I start vomiting up fucking bile from my stomach because there's no food in my stomach. So I'm vomiting up green and yellow. And I remember you show up and you're like, "Yo, are you fucking vomiting bile?" And I was like, "I don't feel good." And you had to help me into my house. Oh my God. It was fun. There were days I don't want to say his name, but you know who I'm talking about. Ron. We would we would always go to his house and get like a large amount of narcotics. The green stuff, don't worry, nothing serious. And we'd get really stoned the whole day. Like, "Hey, you want to go to McDonald's? Sure. Okay, let's pack the bowl. Hey, we're at McDonald's. Let's smoke a little bit. Okay. Okay, we got the food. We're going to eat, and then we're going to smoke and go somewhere, and we're going to smoke once we got there." And it was like a constant thing. And then Amanda and I started doing that, to where she was like, "Holy shit, I've never smoked this much," and I was like, "It's nothing." I was like, "You gotta wait till 420."
Oh my gosh.
I actually want to tell a story. We had this kid, I'm not gonna say his name. We pick him up at around 8 p.m. and he's calling us bitches because he had a thing of root beer or Pepsi or something, and it had alcohol mixed in it. And he's like, "You guys are little bitches. You can't drink my alcohol." And we're like, "What the fuck?" We picked this kid up that we were like kind of like not, acquaintances, not friends.
I remember that piece of trash. I just can't remember his name.
Zach. I don't want to say his last name, but I went to school with him, and I thought to myself, he's a douche in school, but he was drunk, so he was being kind of nice. And he kept calling us bitches, and we're like, "You know what, dude? We're just gonna drop you off at home." And he's like, "Oh, you guys are bitches. You can't party like me." And it's like, fuck you. Like, we've been smoking all day. You're drunk. You're going to wake up with a hangover. We're going to wake up feeling all rested.
Right.
And we drop him off at his house. And the next morning, you're like, "Yo, I found a huge bag." And then he texted me saying,
"Oh my gosh,
I left it in your back seat." And I said, "You must have dropped it on your lawn. Because we checked the whole back seat for you.
Yo.
Couldn't find it." I got one for Jimmy. And I'm not saying his last name. He told me when we got caught,
because he was laughing so fucking loud, like an idiot.
Yeah, we got caught with it. He put it in the ceiling of Dave's Buick, somewhere cops never check. So we get pulled over. They take everything from us, and then like a week later, him and I are like scavenging for weed, and it was horrible. I mean, we were texting people we felt threatened by, to being like, "Hey, you got any?" And I was like, "Yo, Jimmy," and he's just like, "What?" And I was like, "Fuck in your car." We run down there and found it, and they were like, "Fuck him, you got us in trouble." He thought you were doing crack.
He did,
because the cop told us, "I found a crack pipe in the what was it, in the ashtray. You're all getting 10 years each."
It was a broken glass.
And I told him, I even said it to him.
It was a broken slider.
Because he said, "I found a broken crack pipe, and you were all getting 10 years each." And I said, It's a broken slider for a bowl." I was like, "That's not 10 years. That's like a week." And Jimmy was like, "Dave's a crackhead. How did we not see it before?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Dude, look at his skin." And I was like, "What about it?" And he goes, "Just look at it." I was like, "He's a pale German." I was like, "What about it? Do you not know what a pale German kid looks like?" And he goes, "He's a crackhead. He's like, he's always got veins popping out of his head." I was like, "Because he's always getting high." I was like, "This is what happens." I was like, "Look at my fucking forehead." And yeah, he thought the whole night you were a crackhead. And then your mom had to come and get you. And then they made us walk home. And I can say this now because I don't work there anymore. They said, "Where do you work?" And we're like, "Right at McDonald's right across the street." And they're like, "Well, we're telling your managers in the morning that they have potheads as their workers." And I said, "Okay, I smoke with a lot of them." And they were like, "They smoke weed." And I was like, "I think the whole place does." And I was like, "I don't want to dime everybody out, but fuck it." I'm like, my back's against the wall. They're threatening to go like get me fired. I was like, half of them sold to me. Oh, but yeah, those were crazy times. I always tell Amanda I missed 2012 because that's when I broke up with Andrea. 2012 to early 2014. I missed the fuck. 2013, I think, was like the best year ever because it was like not a care in the world. Wake up, go to work, get out of work, smoke till it's nighttime, go do something stupid and spend our money on fast food, and then smoke more, and just always really high on weed, like complete potheads.
Yo, for me, it was the summer of 2010 up until summer of 20.
Like, honestly, I hate to admit it, but when I was with Andrea, the whole, I don't want to get too far into it, but the whole sneaking around thing, I wasn't cheating on anybody. I was kind of the homewrecker. That was like, for me, it was like, that was a thrill. Plus the drugs, it was like, yeah, 5 a.m. He left. Time to go over there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You'd be over there.
And I was always like, oh my God, like I'm like ruining my life. And when I met Amanda, she was just like, "You realize what you're doing is going to affect you later." I was like, "How?" She's like, "Relationship wise." And it's like, it really fucking has. To where I don't know, it's because I was with somebody who was with somebody and she was cheating, and I was that desperate 18-year-old kid who's like never had sex with a girl until then. it was almost like I didn't care that I was doing something wrong,
Right.
and I was like, I just want to keep doing it because it's exciting. And now it's like I have this, um, it's like a drug almost.
Yep.
It's a drug
Yep.
to where it's like, okay, this is a relationship is not enough. I gotta up the ante a little bit, and then a man is like, hey, our life's not porn, and I'm like, I know, but we can pretend it is. Not to get too personal, but yeah, it was like, I don't know, it's fucking weird. But don't ever get into a relationship with a girl. Two things I've learned: never get in a relationship with a girl that likes physical abuse during sex. That's fucking weird for me. I don't think anybody should be hitting each other during it, and never be with a girl who's cheating on the guy she's with, and be the guy she's cheating with, because I'll fuck you up in the future. Like you'll feel a lot of guilt,
I agree.
and you'll be really you'll be like fucked up in relationships. Like I got like no trust, which is horrible because I should have trust. Now, the one I'm so happy we talked about all that. Everyone needed to hear that because it's the podcast. That's the whole point of it. We're telling you crazy stories, hoping that you're sitting there laughing your ass off, thinking to yourself, "Holy shit!" And then you're thinking, "Hey, I have this story. It's similar to theirs," or like something like that. I don't know. I just hope you enjoy it. But the other thing I want to talk to you about is, and remember, no matter what you say, just like explain why you feel that way. Don't feel like you're being judged at all. I hate when people gotta be like, "Oh, well, you're racist for feeling this way." How do you feel about Donald Trump?
I really think that he's better than Joe Biden, and I say that as a member of the Democratic Party.
Now, are you a Trump supporter, or do you just think he's a better candidate than Joe Biden?
Better candidate than Joe Biden. I'm not necessarily a supporter of Trump, though. I will say,
will you be voting for him this year?
I think I'm leaning towards voting for Trump. In the debate yesterday, which, by the way, everybody was an absolute joke.
I watched that too.
That was a joke. Embarrassing for our country.
The moderator had to keep telling Trump, like, okay.
Trump's an asshole for interrupting.
And then Biden's like,
times.
Get out there and vote. You need to vote. And it's like, you've said that 7 times in a row. We get it.
Well, he forgot because he's senile.
I know. So... That's another thing. Do you agree there should, you know how you have to be like 35 to run as a president?
Yes.
Do you think there should be an age that you legally can't run anymore? An older age?
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I just think that
well, what about like people with dementia who aren't diagnosed with it? Or
well, they're not medically fit to run for office, so they wouldn't.
Well, they say that Joe Biden has like starting stages of something, and he's running, and he's like Democratic, and I'm one of those people. I wouldn't say, okay, there's things about Democrats I don't like, and there's things about Republicans I don't like. But I've always been a little more Democratic, but I can understand the Republican side. I'd say I'm more liberal, but I've met liberals, and I'm like, whoa, take it back. You're making us look fucking crazy. The conservatives seem a little bit right on this topic. Like, right. Don't jump down my throat and call me a racist and a sexist because I just disagree with you about one thing. To where it's like this one girl, she's like, how do you feel about free love? And I was like, I think gay people and lesbians, people in the trans community should all be able to, be with who they want as long as that person's consenting.
Right.
I was like, if some trans guy wants to go fuck, some gay guy and they're both for it, I was like, let them do it. I was like, I don't care. I just don't want them to like record it and send it to me. I was like, I don't want anyone to do that though. And I had this one girl say to me, she said, well, that's not what I mean. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, do you think a girl should be able to go have sex with somebody even though she has a boyfriend? And I was like, that's cheating. And she's like, no, not if they're both for it. I said, look, if you're both for that, that's your own personal thing. It's not mine. I do not want to go sleep with somebody else or have my wife sleep with somebody else. To me, that's just like, it's weird. Because it's not something I would do. I just think it's, it's like too much. I think most people call that cheating unless you're both for it. And then it's like, I think it's like cuckolding or something like that. And
I think it's called polyamorous. Which,
polyamorous.
by the way, all of these stupid fucking terms that have come up.
You mean like
non-binary, gender neutral, they,
no?
they, them, their. What the fuck?
I was very confused
What
when
the fuck?
I was very confused when I heard that because this one kid I worked with, not gonna say his name, got along with him very well. Never had an issue with him, and I was always very like welcoming to him, to where I wasn't like, huh, that's something I don't like. Like fuck you. I never felt that way. Not saying you are. I'm not saying you said that or anything. I'm just saying like because there's people watching this, they're gonna be like, you don't like them because you felt this way about him. I said to him, I was like, why does your shirt say him? Why does your name tag? Because he was a new kid at the restaurant I was working at. It said him, he. I said, why does it say that? And he said to me, he goes, I used to be a girl and now I'm a guy. And I started laughing and I was like, I don't mean that in a mean way. I just never heard anybody say that to me. So I didn't know how to take it. I said, it's nothing against you. I said, I respect the hell out of you. I said, I'm not a bully. And he's like, why'd you laugh? I said, I've never heard anybody say to me, I used to be a girl and now I'm a guy. I was like, I've never heard that. I said, but I welcome it though. I said, but you don't need to wear the he, him thing. Like, because some asshole is going to see that and make fun of you. And fuck them. Don't give them the reason to make fun of you. And I said, I've heard people say my pronoun is they. And I'm like, what is that?
My pronoun
And I'll
is
tell
they.
them, I'm not making fun of you. I just hear someone, it's like someone come up to you and saying like, yo, I'm purple. And you're just like, what? And they're like, I'm purple. It's like, what do you mean? I identify as that. It's like, I don't care what you identify as. That's like me coming up to you and saying, I like dudes. And it's like, why are you telling me that?
Yeah.
To me, I think it's like...
Scientifically, there's two fucking genders. There's male and female.
Now, don't get me wrong.
It's chromosomal,
I have met people who, when I first met them, they were, in their eyes and my eyes, a girl. I'm confused about this because I don't get it, but I'm one of those people. If you're wondering why I'm laughing, it's because well, first of all, if you look at how much I've had of this is why. I'm one of those people, though, where if somebody's like, hey, I'm trans, I'm a guy now, I'm like, well, hey, how you doing, man? Like, I'm going to treat them the way they're saying they are. I'm not going to be like, no, you're a fucking girl. I let you. You're a fucking girl. You're not gonna call you a fucking guy. Fuck you. I'm not one of those people. If somebody is like that, to where they're like, well, I don't accept it. I'm not gonna be like, well, fuck you. You're not being fair, because that's their own opinion. But like I'm one of those people. I do respect the trans community. I am confused by it, like really confused by it, because I don't know enough about it.
No, I see.
But I'm not going to be one of those people.
I get how it goes.
Yeah.
I personally don't.
I feel like a dick for chuckling, but
I mean, I don't have any problem with like, people who are transgendered.
Yeah.
I really don't care. But the one thing that I really scratch my head at is just all this alternative bullshit. That's all just people, it's like they're identifying like they're, oh, I'm gothic, oh, I'm emo, I'm a hipster or something like that with the whole pronoun shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude,
I don't understand it.
He or she, man, fuck that they shit. They is plural. I'm not using they to be like, that's theirs. No, that's his. It's his.
Yeah.
That's hers. There's if there's two people over there, oh yeah, that's yeah, look at them. But I
find it very
you don't
confusing.
You don't identify with a gender, but scientifically as humans there's only two genders.
No, I got a question.
So what are you, a fucking extraterrestrial being of some sort?
No, I got a question.
That's where I don't go.
How do you feel about trans people? Do you think that... Because I've heard some people say it's a mental illness, and I've heard other people say it's not a mental illness, it's just people were never comfortable to come out in that way. Because I've met women who, 10 years later, I find out they are transformed into a guy and went through all the surgery, and I'm thinking to myself, you actually look more, like, better as a guy. And I'm like, holy shit. And I'll be like, and then I've met guys who end up then transferring into a woman, and I'm like, you act not attracted to them as a woman, but I'm like, you actually look better as a woman. Like it's fucking weird how much like better they look as that person. And then I'm like, hey, more power to you if you're comfortable in that position. Like like Caitlyn Jenner. A lot of people make fun of Caitlyn Jenner. It's Bruce Jenner and ended up being transsexual. I don't know if you knew about that. So Bruce Jenner, the Kardashians, Bruce Jenner. Oh, you don't know about it? So Bruce Jenner became Caitlyn Jenner, and it was on the cover of I think Vanity Fair, and ended up being pretty much coming out as a woman. And when I heard about it, I thought to myself, "Is this a publicity stunt, or is he being serious?" And then I was like, "Okay, I'll call him she, because that's what she now identifies as." So where if a guy, say Dave says to me tomorrow, "Hey, you know what? I really thought about it, and I actually I'm a woman, more comfortable like that. I want you to call me a girl." I would start saying, "Okay." I might bust his balls a little bit because we're best friends, and be like, "What's up? How you doing? You want to fuck me?" But I'm not gonna be like judgmental or anything, or like mean or bully him. I don't think that's right. I don't think you should pick on anybody for any reason. The only time you should pick on somebody is if you see someone going, "Hey, faggot, faggot." Bully the person that's pushing the person calling them a faggot.
Bully the bully.
Yeah.
Set them straight.
Again, I feel horrible that I laughed a few times. It's because I've been drinking.
Yeah.
And it's like the second I start talking, hearing someone say my pronoun is they, I'm like, explain that. Explain it to me. And then they do, and I don't understand it even after they explain it. And I'm like, there's no judgments. I just don't understand it. And then I say to them, but honestly, it's none of my business to understand it because that's your life. I'm like, if you don't give a shit if I understand it, I respect that too. I'm one of those people. I've met a lot of people in the trans community. I've met a lot of gay people, a lot of lesbians. And I'm like, hey, I kind of sometimes wish I was gay. And then my wife's like, what? And I'm like, women are so fucking stressful. I'm like, plus, I told my wife one time I said it in front of a gay guy. I said, men probably would give better head because they know what they like. And the gay guy was like, very true. And I was like, what? He goes, girls don't have dicks, so they don't know how it feels. Yeah. And a guy knows what a guy will like, so they know what to do. And I was like, exactly. And I was like, it's not a gay thing. It's just like, it is a gay thing to do that, but it's not a gay thing to be like, I can identify that I know that's probably a thing. But yeah, fucking, I don't know. I've noticed, nowadays, I found anything you say is offensive to somebody. And it used to not be that way, and I don't understand it.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither. To
where, like, you could say something putting yourself down, and somebody's like, that offends me. And it's like, fuck you. It's me talking about me. Like, don't tell me I have offended you by putting myself down. And I'll talk to a conservative, and they'll be like, I love Trump. Get these goddamn Mexicans out of here and seal the border. And I'm like, okay, calm down. Calm down. If you're going to go find a Mexican person who has a green card and beat them up simply because they're Mexican. And then I meet liberals who are like, if you like Trump, you're racist. And it's just like, whoa, I've met people that like Trump. I've met people who like Trump who I know for a fact you're not racist. You like his business, the business part of him.
Right.
And don't agree with the other stuff.
Back in 2015, I remember that it was very popular for women to say, like, oh, if you're a Trump supporter, you're like a sexist, entitled, racist, hateful, homophobic, anti-Semitic, fucking Christian radical, whatever you can pull out of the freaking sky. Yeah. I'm like, yo, shut up. Please, shut up. I can't take it. People are just like, man, people our age, dude, a little bit younger, especially younger 20s.
They don't know enough to talk about it.
They think they know everything. But the thing is like, listen, Donald Trump is, I think he's a narcissistic individual.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And this is the one thing that pisses me off, and I've heard it this week from people I personally know not that I'm really good friends with, but like even like extended family, which I hate to say because it's like I'm related to you. I've heard people say, "Oh, people are all worried about Trump, being this narcissistic asshole," but Biden has little kids sitting on his lap and says how he likes them sitting in his lap and they play with his leg hair, and I'm
Does he
like,
actually? Did he
and
actually
I'm
say that though?
he did. There is a video of him talking about little kids playing with his hair. At least I believe it was his leg hair or something. And I like little kids. I've gotten used to and enjoy little kids sitting in my lap. Something like that. I don't know if it's the exact words, but something about holding little kids or having them sit in his lap. Something about enjoying that. And to me, it sounded like I was like, "Why are you saying that?" I can't.
Personally, I don't believe
I
that.
can't play the clip on here because I am legally not allowed to.
I don't believe. I don't believe that.
I mean,
I
no,
don't
I've
believe
I've
that.
heard him. So I've actually heard him say it in an actual speech on the news.
I'll have to find that for myself.
I would definitely go home and watch it because when I watched it, I was like, "What the fuck?" And there's people in the thing saying he's so good with kids, and it's like, guys, that sounded fucking creepy. That sounded like he's good with kids, like not in the good way.
Yeah.
And
Yo,
then
that freaking debate yesterday, man.
it was fucking sad to watch.
I'll say like our country is absolutely embarrassing.
Oh, I
With
gotta
this,
say this one last thing. The people that like Trump will say that about Biden. But then I'm thinking to myself, hold on. Trump has had like 60, 70 women come out about sexual allegations and rape,
nothing ever came of it.
and nothing came of it. And they'll say, well, he ran for president. What do you expect? And it's like, whoa, no. These allegations came out over 10 years ago when he wasn't running for president. And now they're coming out again because he is running for president. It's the same people saying it. And they know that now they finally might get heard. And that's the thing. They'll say, well, it's not true. But then there's the video. I forgot who it's with. There's a video of him on a bus with some guy. Well, audio.
Howard Stern.
Yeah, I don't know if that's who it is, but you're probably right. And the guy still had his microphone on and didn't know it.
Yeah.
And him and Trump were talking, and he said, "Nah." He goes, "When you're rich, you can just grab women and kiss them. And if they say anything, we'll be like, I'll ruin your career." And he goes, "Just grab him by the pussy." He goes, "You can just walk up to him and just grab him by the pussy." And he got more voters for that. It's like, wait a minute.
What
He
the
just
fuck?
literally made a joke about sexual assault.
Right.
And if Biden did that, it'd be like, he's a fucking monster. But Trump did it, and somehow he's not. And that, to me, I'm like, you're so for this person that you're willing to look past that because you don't like Biden. And that I don't get. Like when Hillary was running and Trump was running, and people were like, I'm going for the lesser of the evil. It's like, guys, this is like saying Hitler or Stalin. I'm not picking fucking either. Like, I'm not voting. I'm not voting ever again unless somebody like legitimately like smart runs. Like, I liked Obama, but after really researching him fully, I didn't like the result. I think he was the most calm, well worded man who could handle a conversation very professionally. But at the same time, I thought to myself, people said, Obama never did this stuff with the cages at the borders, and it's like, yes, he did. It's just when
Yeah.
Obama did it, there was no reports of sexual assault and starving little kids. Now there's reports of that, and Trump says
Well, it's because
nothing.
Trump's president.
Yeah, and
That's why all this shit's all been going on. But
Yeah.
I'll say one thing, like, yeah, people being detained and
It's
and
fucking
and,
horrible.
and deported back to Mexico. It's been happening. Um, when you sneak into a country illegally, um, unfortunately, you don't have the legal documentation. You're not a citizen of the country. The government's got to send you back.
Yeah.
That's called the rule of law. If anyone has a problem with that, then I don't suggest amnesty. What I suggest is coming up with very broad reforms to make it easier for people to actually get citizenship, so
Yeah.
they don't have to wait forever, and possibly grandfather people who have already been in the country that would otherwise qualify, but not give any sort of blanket amnesty out to everybody. It's just, I mean, you break a law, you're not supposed to be in the country. If I go to Canada and I don't have my enhanced license,
Yeah.
I'm fucked.
Now, those signs, I don't know if you notice them, but the ones that say in the people's front yards, "We believe," and it's like Black Lives Matter, water is life, no human being is illegal, women's rights is human rights, and any injustice anywhere is a threat to injustices everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I see those signs and I'm like, I could never get one of those for my yard because the whole no human being is illegal. I get what they're saying, but it's like, listen, if you're coming in here undocumented, there's no paperwork about you. So if you go raping and killing people, we have no idea who the fuck you are.
Right.
And then people don't think about that. And it's like, look, if you're Mexican and you come here,
seriously though,
we're not saying every
guy.
Mexican is a fucking rapist. We're saying humans are rapists and murderers. There are people like that. So, yeah, this Mexican might be coming over here to take care of his family, working 15 cents an hour, something Americans would never fucking want to do. We'd be like, fuck you, if it's not 15 to 20, fuck off. Like, our minimum wage is over $10. And it's like, we're not willing to work for anything less than $10. These guys are like $2 an hour on a farm for 20 hours a day. And it's like, those guys are feeding their families. They're not saving up. They're sending that money back over or saving it to get for, like, feed their kids. And if it wasn't for those people, we wouldn't have as much produce. Those people actually farm for us. And a lot of people don't realize that. But then there's the other guy that comes over and is fucking crazy and mentally ill and is like, I'm going to go rape a fucking American woman and steal and rob and kill people and get away with it because I'm not documented. And I'm not saying everybody's like that who is Mexican or Puerto Rican. I also get a kick out of when people say, tell the Puerto Ricans to go back to their own country. It's like, Puerto Rico is in America.
Right.
You fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But yeah, not every Mexican is a bad person. Just like not every American is. But to come here, you need documents. It'd be like me not having an identification card or driving without a license. It's illegal. I should not be allowed to. Because if I'm driving without a license and a cop pulls me over, he doesn't know who the fuck I am, and I can just tell him anything. I can lie my ass off. You need those things to properly convict people of crimes they've committed. But the problem is, to get on that list and the process through could take anywhere from 10 to 20 years. And that's the problem. It's such a delay on it. And the people that are like, well, they need to get on that list. The people to where they can become documented. And it's like, we get that, but they're waiting like a decade or two.
Right, and Trump hasn't been helping that process, especially people with visas, who are here to get an education. There was some type of executive order, I think, that he signed to.
Oh my God! I've had like
some type of executive order, because Trump likes to do that, or maybe it was a law that was passed, but something that limits green card holders, limits their ability to extend their visas. So it's like basically you have people coming in from other countries, coming to really highly rated American universities and technical institutes, getting excellent educations, and then going back home to work for companies in other countries to compete against us, instead of allowing these highly educated individuals to be given American citizenship because they work their fucking asses off to get high level degrees that your normal American's not gonna get because we're too fucking stupid.
That happened with Amanda. She was on a list for a scholarship to get into Fisher, and an Indian girl got in who Amanda had better grades than. And I was like, wait, what? And she said, yeah, and I was like, how do you know it? She said, my professor was telling me. She actually heard about it, and it was like, you did get in, but this other girl did. And I was like, how the fuck did you hear about that? And she said, I guess it was through the curriculum or something. And I was like, that's fucking horrible. And she's like, yeah, so if my last name, like, I forgot who it was. There was somebody in the Senate or somebody in politics who lied about their ancestry to get their family jobs. I forgot who it was. I think it was Lovely Warren, but I could be wrong. I do not know what she looks like. I heard there was
Oh, Elizabeth Warren?
I thought it was Lovely Warren. Who the fuck's name is Lovely?
Lovely's our mayor.
Oh. So I heard some mayor or somebody in Congress, I don't know who the hell it was, lied saying that they were Indian or something or Native American.
I think you're thinking of Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts.
And got her family, all of her family jobs I forgot where she got them jobs. It was like really high up jobs that they only got because she lied about where she was from. I'm thinking to myself, why in this country do we take the American people and give them less of a chance than the people that are coming here? And I get it because those people had less of a chance, but it's like, yeah, but we're from here.
Oh,
We're already trying. It's like getting the shit out of the stick.
but what I'm saying though about foreign students
Yeah.
is that they're getting educations, they're getting degrees that your regular American citizens aren't getting because they lack the intelligence or the motivation. So we literally have people who are coming over here
Mm-hmm.
to that are getting higher educations than most American citizens would be getting
Yeah.
because they don't because your most American citizens don't qualify for it because they don't have the work ethic or whatever, and that we're having these very highly skilled individuals get these advanced degrees, but then letting them go back and have high skilled jobs in other countries
Mm-hmm.
instead of letting them stay here, work in America in a
Yeah.
very high skilled, high paying job as a an American citizen, dual national or whatever, and contributing to our own economy and our own innovation. Instead, Trump just no, your visa expires, get out. So why the hell we have people come get these great educations
Yeah.
and then have them go home to then pound us into the dirt because our own people are too stupid to do it? Let them in. Let them in. I mean, like, freaking engineers, man. So,
No correction about
software
no
developers.
correction about Trump.
What?
I don't know if you noticed it the way he does this. It's wrong.
Wrong.
It's a lie. Fake news. I can't do the voice he does, but he does this thing where he puts his lips like this.
Yeah. The one
And then
thing
he
I
goes,
will the one thing I will give Trump
It's
though,
lying.
is that Trump is actually well spoken and he's actually halfway intelligent.
You think he's well spoken?
Um,
I think he comes off like a jackass,
he can.
but I think he knows what he's doing. But I think what he's doing is not helping us. But I think he know as when people say Trump's a fucking idiot, I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. If he's a fucking idiot, he wouldn't have been able to do all the shit he's done.
Right.
I'm like, it might not be really good for us, but he knew how to do it.
Right. I mean, he's an idiot for how much he interrupted yesterday that debate.
Yeah, I was
making
shocked
himself
at that.
look like an absolute fool, an absolute child. But the one thing is that he can actually articulate a full sentence without tripping over himself.
You mean where he's not like stuttering and
like Biden? Yes.
yeah, Biden's holy crap.
And he has good posture.
It's sad to watch. Biden.
He really ruined it for himself by interrupting so much. He ruined it for himself by not outright condemning far right counter protests that have been violent. Are you kidding me? What happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin? And then what in Michigan with these Proud Boys, freaking rednecks? Come on.
No, I
Who
think
cares about losing their votes? They're freaking worse than any of the Black Lives Matter protesters.
You know what I really don't like? The fact that, and this to me is like, what the fuck? When all the KKK members marched without their hoods on, with lawn ornament, like the tiki torches that you put on your fucking lawn,
Mm-hmm.
and they marched down the street, and they were doing it for like Trump, and he was like, I don't support this, and it's like, dude, they're comfortable with you for some reason, and it's like, and people are like, Trump's got nothing to do with it. And it's like, guys, this would be like if the Black Panthers started marching when Obama got in office.
That's a problem.
That to me is scary.
Yeah, it
like,
is.
guys, we're experiencing like a fucking revolution, but like in a bad way.
Right.
Like they're fucking like saying like we don't give a shit now.
Right.
Like we're not hiding anything that we were hiding before. And what scares me is that and I don't know how how fully true this is, but I've heard so many people say it, and I've heard it from so many different sources to where I haven't been proved wrong. The head of the KKK, like the main guy, I think he's called the General Wizard or something. I've it's gonna sound weird. I've studied a lot of the KKK because I want to know what I'm talking about. I'm not for the KKK. I've actually, I don't know if you know who Daryl Davis is. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yes.
I love that guy. I think he's a genius, but I think he's wasting his life on dumb racist people. Like, go live your life. Stop trying to turn racist people not racist. Fuck those people. Go be happy being you. I think that's what he should do. But I'm like, I think to myself, you are like, he's got balls. He's turned, I think, over 200 some KKK members not racist to where they like gave up their badges. But my problem is that Donald Trump, when he was given praise by the head of the KKK, he called himself the Grand Wizard. They have like rankings. He praised Trump, and Trump went on the news and was like, obviously it's not a good person to get praise from. I don't like him or agree with what he does. And it's like, dude, there are videos of you playing golf with him. And it's like, why are you playing golf? And when I saw that, when my friend showed me, I was like, wait a minute, that's the guy from the interview I saw
Jeez.
praising Trump. And I was like, that's got to be photoshopped. And he goes, it's a fucking video. And I was like, yeah, but it's got to be photoshopped. And then I saw it like 10 more times from different angles, and I was like, what the fuck?
Oh
and I was
gosh.
like, wait a minute. Donald Trump plays golf a lot. Like a lot. Like he's even used our tax money to do it. Like he's taken so many vacations, and I'm like, why is he playing golf with the head of the KKK when he was just like denying that guy, like that guy's praise? And I thought to myself, what the fuck? And then I heard celebrities talking about how Donald Trump plays golf with the fucking leader of the KKK. Why is this okay with people? And I was like, and then I hear Trump supporters saying, who cares who he plays golf with? And it's like, I'm sorry, but if Obama's playing golf with fucking ISIS, he's got to go.
Right.
Like, get him the fuck out of the office.
Yeah.
Like, when I found out this I thought was weird. People were like having an issue with Trump talking with Vladimir Putin. But Obama has sat down with Vladimir Putin, trying to not become allies, but trying to make sure that there's no issues, kind of thing. Like they have to talk to those people. And then people were like, "Well, Trump's doing business deals with Putin." I'm like, "Okay, that's an issue because that's like Russian affairs. We're not allowed to do foreign affairs with people. That's like a crime, from at least from what I've heard." And then people are like, "Oh, Putin played Trump like a fiddle," and it's like that's not the point. What did they do? And then it's like,
What did
hey,
they do?
now he's friends with Kim Jong Un and says Kim Jong Un has a great economy. It's like, dude, he starves his fucking people. What are you gonna do to us? And that kind of shit scares me. It really does. Now I want to get off that topic because I mean that this is one of the hugest things I want to talk to you about. What's your opinion? Because there's 10 different opinions on 9/11.
What's my opinion on 9/11?
Yeah. Do you think? Because I've heard people say terrorist attacks. I've heard people say it was set up by our government. I've heard other people who were actually in there that day who survived what they have said. Like actual interviews of those people who like legitimately worked in the Twin Towers, who were on the first floor and actually got out before the building came down. And I go off what they said because they actually worked there and they've gotten in trouble for talking.
I mean, I think that it was a terrorist attack that was responded to poorly by the Federal Aviation Administration while the hijackings were taking place. I don't see why a military fighter jet couldn't have been scrambled to intercept the planes. But no, I mean, I believe that it was a that it was a terrorist attack, that it was
Now when there's
national tragedy.
Now, when you say, and it's gonna sound weird me saying this, but when you say terrorist attack, it was definitely a terrorist attack. But when you say that, do you think it was our country doing it to us, or do you think it was another country doing it to us?
Saudi Arabia.
Now, do you think the Saudi Arabians, obviously because we get oil from places like that, do you think that we had plans with them, upper government had plans with them, to hide something? And that happened. It was planned.
No, it doesn't make sense because if we get our oil from Saudi Arabia and we colluded with the Saudi Arabians to allow this to happen, so that we can wage wars against Iraq and Afghanistan, so we can take control of the oil fields and have American refineries run them, leading to cheaper gas prices. I don't see how that could affect the. I don't see how that could have any payoff for the Saudis. So that doesn't make any sense to me. I think. I think. I think that it was Saudi Arabians who did not agree with the Saudi royal government who orchestrated the attack. I don't think the Bin Laden family or any of those terrorists were part of the Saudi royal family or had any affiliation with them. I
Now,
think it was totally separate.
I used to think, I always told people it's fucking terrorists, and then I can't say names because I don't want to get those people involved in any way in this, because this is just speculation. They could have been lying their asses off, but I don't think there's a reason to lie about this. I have a friend who I cannot mention on here. I know, don't worry, I'm not mentioning your name. Um, who had a family member. That's all I can say. A family member who worked in the Twin Towers. And that person, can't say the sex of that person, male or female. I'm just going to say that person um, told me personally, and I was like, you were not in the fucking Twin Towers. And this person showed me the badge, not the badge, but the thing they had, because they had like name tag, not name tag, but it says who you are, certain things you have to be able to get past to get to certain levels of the building. This person said to me, um, obviously it was a terrorist attack, and I was just like, that must have been the biggest like fear of your life. And the person said, here's the problem. Um, he goes, shit, I just said he. He said to me, fuck it, they don't know who he is. Anybody who watches this who's like, and go, I don't know, think anybody, it's not big enough for a government official to watch my podcast yet. Um, he said to me, here's what the issue is. About 2 months before 9/11, um, he said they started having these guys who were dressed in like really nice suits, but like almost like not suits for a meeting kind of thing, showed up and they had these big trucks, and they started taking a bunch of boxes out of the trucks and putting them in the one corner of the lobby of the one set of Twin Towers. He worked just in the one part because there's a whole other part. And he said what was weird was he said it said on the boxes dangerous, like dangerous, and it said things like words like explosive, and it said it in multiple languages. And he's like, I was like, what the fuck are they doing? And he said for almost 2 months, certain parts of the building that we were originally allowed in were blocked off, and it was elevators. And he said, we thought that was weird, but we were told you're not allowed to ask anything. They're investigating the building. And he said, when that day when the planes crashed, he said that's not what scared him. He said once that happened, though, he said once he ran out of the building, he saw the planes coming down. He said, here's what's scary. And he's like, he has no explanation for it besides those people that were coming in. And he heard they were doing construction on the building. He said they heard bombs go off in the elevators before those planes even touched the building. And he said to where they heard loud explosions all around the building. He ran out with another person who was working in the lobby, and then the plane started crashing the building. So he said planes weren't even touching the buildings when they started hearing about like loud explosions. And people who I've listened to a lot of different interviews of people who like create like build buildings like I forgot what the fuck they're called. What are they called? People that design buildings.
Wait, are you talking about what they're called, like skyscrapers or
No,
like architects?
the people architects. I've heard a few different
Or are you talking about structural engineers though, or both?
structural engineers. Structural
Yeah.
engineers. I have talked to a few who have said if you watch the actual footage from the Twin Towers, the way that those buildings came down, if the planes would have crashed into them and that was all that was involved, the top would have fallen to where those planes are, and they would have gone probably another 100 feet down just from the impact. They said it looks like it exploded from the inside. And I've talked to a few building engineers who are like, the way it came down is the way we take buildings down. We're gonna make them explode to take a building down. When they're planning on creating a new building on top of it. And then I listened to somebody who was on Joe Rogan's podcast who actually works in government, and he said, he's like, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but he's like, I honestly don't care anymore. It's been almost 20 years. He said, um, and I forgot what building it was, but and somewhere in a government building in Washington D.C., near the White House, they found out there was over $3 trillion missing from an account, and nobody knew where it went. And one of the guys that was in charge of it said, we need to go into the Twin Towers tomorrow, into the accounting area, and find out what the hell went on. Like, where's that money? Because someone's going to prison the rest of their life. And that was on September 10th.
Okay.
Now, the guy that was on said somebody, they never mentioned who, a few of the security guards seemed like they knew what was going on, but loosely said somebody who worked in some level of government had those boxes delivered to the Twin Towers and had professional somethings sent up to pretty much reconstruct the building. And for how it looks like bombs went off in the elevators, which would actually cause, what engineers say, would help the building collapse for every elevator that was in there, and for the corners of the place where it exploded. And I was like, what the fuck? And I guess from what I've heard, what I put in my head from all the stuff I've heard, it sounds like somebody took a bunch of money and knew they were doing it and knew that they were going to be like, it was going to be looked at. So they planned a long time ahead and pretty much had the fucking Twin Towers demolished. And then those planes were actually sent by our people. But when I say our people, I mean people that we've worked with that are from different countries. So I definitely believe it was a terrorist attack. This stuff I just told you, I've heard like multiple people like that have been on a lot of different not just podcasts, but like interviews, who've talked about it, who have their faces blurred out, and they're like, I could get killed for telling you this. That's why my face is blurred out. They're like, um, if you're watching this, I'm kidding. Don't kill me. Trump's watching this, like, that motherfucker talking about our plans. But when I heard about it, I was like, the way it was all talked about, I was like, that honestly fucking makes sense. Because my mom was even telling me she knows an architect. One of her friends at work, his husband is an architect, and he said he's designed buildings, and he said the way those towers fall, it's like they were being demolished, not having a plane run into them. The plane ran into them right as the demolition started, and like it was planned. And for the way our government works, I honestly believe it. So when I see like on the back of cop cars, remember
9/11, never
I
forget.
think to myself, remember when our country fucking killed a bunch of our people and then try to make it look like it was other people from other countries, which started a fucking war. I think that our government, like, the stuff you watch on the news, I think a lot of that is to keep our minds busy on and away from what they're really doing. I really don't think we're being told the truth. We've ever been told the truth by our government. Because think about it. George Washington and the original president, like the first 5 presidents, set up that system where it's like, hey, we set up the system so the American people can take over when the government starts to fuck them. Like, I don't know if you know, the Second Amendment was made so we can protect ourselves against our government.
Right.
That literally is like a thing. And when I found that, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what did they know that we didn't fucking know? So it scares the shit out of me when I hear stuff like that. When people say like, oh my god, this is going on. I'm like, no, but something worse is fucking going on. Like, how do you feel? How do you feel about the stimulus checks and how it's going to affect us?
What? It already happened.
I know, but they're talking about the next round. Now, do you think do you think this is going to affect us in the future financially through our taxes?
No, because politicians are idiots and they're not going to raise the taxes to pay for the stimulus checks and all the loans that they gave out to businesses and forgave. They're not going to raise taxes to pay for that. Instead, they're just going to let our national debt creep up and up and up. Which is why the economic stimulus checks that were first passed, That's not too bad, but the extra $600 a week in federal unemployment benefits,
Yeah, it's
um,
crazy.
it was absolutely like just irresponsible and should have never happened. Complete irresponsible spending, just out of control. Um, where people were making more money being out of work because of a pandemic at the government's dime, at our national debt's dime, that is going to affect us very badly in 20 or 30 years because ever since Ronald Reagan in the 1980s, national debt's up, 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 up.
Yeah.
Clinton kind of steady. Bush up because he fucking waged 2 wars and lowered taxes and told people to go out and spend their money. No, if you wage a war, you idiot, you got to raise taxes to pay for it. Obama got elected, economic stimulus, because of the real estate market,
Yeah.
um, bailing out companies. Donald Trump gets elected, debt keeps going up. It's fucked.
Do you I gotta tell you something. If it doesn't make you laugh, it means you got the same sense of humor as Amanda. If it makes you laugh, it means you're like me, to where you cry while you're hanging on the back of the truck at work, thinking about it. So, you've seen the Joe Rogan podcast or no?
No.
So there's this episode where he has this guy named Joey Diaz on, and this guy named Tom Segura, and Joey Diaz is talking about how he shit himself when he was on a bus in school, and he said he farted once and it was horrible. There were people were opening up the windows, the cheerleaders were crying. He goes, and I farted again, and one of the teachers goes, "Oh my God, he's changing flavors."
What the fuck?
And then Joe goes, "He's changing flavors," and he goes, "Yeah, I farted twice." And one of the teachers goes, "Oh my God, he's changing flavors."
What does that mean?
Like the smell of his shit
Oh.
turned to a different smell.
Oh, man.
I was crying today thinking about that at my job. Where the guy I drive with is like, "Are you fucking okay?" And I was like, "He's changing flavors." And he goes, "What?" And I said, "This guy shit twice." And one of his teachers said, "He's changing flavors." I watched that so many times today. It was horrible how many times I watched that. Oh my God. Oh, I'm telling you, man. I think this. Where do you see this country in 20 years?
In 20 years, if it's anywhere, if we keep on the same path that we're going, we are going to have people in control who think that we can give away anything to anybody, that anyone can have whatever they want, without having to without having to pay for it or anything. I think I don't know. I think our country is getting progressively worse.
Yeah,
Because
I agree with you on
people
that.
people are being less and less intelligent and less proper, and more to where um they just like they post
It's
fucking
horrible.
pictures of themselves like moving like
You know what annoys me?
I,
The goddamn gens, and I'm not gonna go around pretending like millennials are perfect. We're not. A lot of us are stupid. A lot of us are smart. The Gen Zs out there who fucking the 17-year-old kids who post the fashionable face masks. Like, dude, we're in a fucking pandemic. We don't care what the fuck your face mask has on it. Just fucking wear one. Like these fucking kids who post up stuff on Facebook that their fucking face mask matches their shoes. Like, dude, we're in an economic fucking crisis. So I don't give a shit if your stuff fucking matches. Don't post it. You know, you should post something fucking like serious.
hey, but hold on a minute though. I was born in '92,
Yeah.
which makes me Gen Y.
No, okay. So
No,
Gen Z is 22 to 36. Or no, millennial is 22 to 36. You like my brothers are Gen X's because they're in their 30s. You and me are millennials, and then people in their teens are Gen Zs.
No, it's Gen Y, millennials, and then Gen Zs.
It's So
Yo, we're Gen Y,
hold
dude.
on.
We're not
No,
millennials.
look it up. Look it up. I'm telling you, look it up. I don't know how I know how I know we're millennials, because anybody over the age of 30 fucking 7 says these fucking millennials. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm only 28. And they're like, yeah, you're a fucking millennial. Look up millennial age. I'd look it up on here, but it won't let me because I'm recording. Generation. What years?
Generation Y, 1981 to 1996.
Hold on, look up millennial years, because that makes no fucking sense. Yeah, 22 to 38. See, you and I are millennials.
Yeah, but it also says Gen Y.
All I know is
All right, so
when I hear millennials, like everybody I've ever heard says the goddamn millennials in their fucking 20s who think they're in their fucking 40s, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, yeah, a lot of millennials are dumb, but a lot of them are smart. Like, so millennials, people that were born around the millennium, but before it. Like, we're millennials, which to me is good because the Gen Zs right now are like the cell phone people. And I'm not saying you all, like they all are, but the ones who are like always on their phones, they're always like, get a Snapchat picture with me. And that's all they fucking do all day. It's like, yo, get off your phone, play basketball. Like, learn hand-eye coordination. Like,
right.
learn math. Like, get a good job. You know what's really crazy? You know how they say it's like horribly, like the economic downfall? I am making more now than I've ever made in my life. Ever.
Me too.
I just got a raise. Did I tell you I got a raise?
Uh,
Holy shit. 200 more a week now than I did. I might quit doing Uber. No, I'm gonna still do Uber.
quit doing Uber because you get people like Ivy.
Ivy,
From 4th
who
Street.
leaves diapers in your goddamn back seat and then gives you a 4.99.
Well,
Do you know that?
No. She gave you a 4-star, which lowered you to 4.99 because you had a problem with that ratchet.
Don't say don't go too far.
That ratchet lady, with her out of control kids who were
Who
opening-
kept opening the doors to my car
And
in the
she-
back
and
seat,
she
and I
left-
kept saying, "Can you please make sure that I'm opening the doors because for their own safety?" And she went, "Sure." And then she's changing her kid's diaper, like changing them on the floor of my back seat, and I was like, "Hey, they're supposed to be buckled in. Like they're my daughter's age, and she's 16 months. Like they should be in car seats." And then I even buckled in into a normal seat, and she goes, "Give me a minute," and I'm like, I don't want to have to pull over. Can you please make sure your kids are buckled in? So she and the ride to drop her off was less than a minute away. It was like 0.2 miles to where like 50 more feet is 1,000 feet away.
So he
from
was
her
dropping
stop.
her off from one baby daddy house to the next baby daddy house.
Hey, no, that sounds bad. Don't say baby daddy like that.
No,
I told you he's a Trump supporter.
I'm just using the.
So I
the-
picked
the
this girl
language.
up in the inner city because I do a lot of my Uber there. Now, by the way, no joke, the best places to go. And this is what's weird. I went to Brockport, and the person in Brockport was going into the inner city, and I was like, "God damn you! I just drove all the way out here for nothing."
Well,
And then I found Webster is a good place. To do it. The city. Hilton, depending on the time of day, you'll get a lot of people in Hilton that want to go like 15 miles. The most I ever got, which I explained on one of my last podcasts, I picked up somebody that had me take them 50 miles,
wow.
and it took 2 hours, and I got $100 out of it in 2 hours, $100 because they gave me a tip too. I picked up a woman who told me her whole drug history, told me about her prison history and her prostitution history. And all I'm thinking to myself is, who the fuck did I just pick up? And why are you my longest ride? I got 50 miles with you. And I looked at the thing, it said I had over an hour with her. I was like, fuck. I take her out to Canandaigua. She paid the tolls, which I was like, holy shit, because I went to pay them. And then she's like, oh, I've got it, honey. Don't worry. I was like, oh, okay. And she like took $20 out of her fucking bra and slipped it to me. And I was like, thank you. Put that down there. And then she has me pick up her sister. Now, I told this on the last one, and I hope you guys remember it. I can't say the full thing because I feel like I harbored a fugitive. I don't think I did because they didn't admit anything, but the one had me pick her up from what looked like a psych ward. And she said she had just gotten out finally. And then she said to me, "Oh, you got tinted windows." And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Good. I don't want any cops seeing me." I was like, "What do you mean?" And then her sister's like, "Well, she's skittish around cops." I was like, "I'm not going to get us pulled over." And she goes, "Please don't." And her sister kept saying, "You should try to stay low." I was like, "I'm driving." And she goes, "No, I'm talking to my sister." And then they had me drop them off. And when I dropped them off, I said to her, I said, "You said you're giving me another 20, right?" Because she had me take her to Walmart, which was off the fucking route.
Oh, I hate when people do that.
I fucking hate it. And I'll tell them to update it. Well, it's right there. And then I take them there and they're like, "They didn't have the," yeah, she needed milk and sugar. And Walmart didn't have milk and sugar. So she had to take her to a gas station like 10 miles away. And I'm like, "Look, I'll do it, but if Uber says anything to me, I'm going to tell them the truth. Because Uber will text you, is everything okay?"
Right.
And this woman had me take her 20 miles out of where we were supposed to go. To where it kept rerouting and rerouting to get back to her normal stop.
Right.
Telling me, "Turn left up here." And it's like, yo, I'm trying to fucking do this. And thankfully, and I didn't know this, thankfully, if it has you reroute and you just keep going somewhere else, you still get paid for that. So the whole time, it was like the clock was running. I was like, thank God. Because I thought it wasn't going to give me the money for going all that way,
Yeah,
just
right.
for the route. Drop them off, and I'm like, the other 20. She goes, "I already gave you 20. I was like, "Oh, I thought you said you're giving me another 20 for taking me back here from Walmart." She goes, "Why would I give you $20 to drive 40 bucks for 20 miles?" And I was like, "Oh, my bad. I'm sorry." And then her sister pulls out $45, hands it to me, and I was like, "Oh, thank you." And her sister goes, "No, I already gave him 20." She goes, "Oh," and she takes it back from me, and I'm like, "Fuck." I could have just made $165 fucking dollars in 2 hours.
Wow.
And I was like, damn it. And but that was that day. I called Amanda while she was in Walmart, and I said, "Hey, I'm about to like leave somebody an Uber rider at Walmart and just fuck it and say fucking go home." And she goes like, "What happened?" And I was like, "This woman's like telling me about prostitution and going to prison for fighting, and like that she'll fucking kill somebody." And I was like, "What do I do?" And Amanda's like, "Let Uber know what's going on." She's like, "Did she threaten you?" I was like, "No, she doesn't even have a purse or anything. She's weirdly extremely nice and chill. Like she's like, "Man, I like weed and I like to drink." She's like, "I hate the people that are all bummers that are like, you're a drug addict." And I was just like, "I agree with you on that." I was like, "I like to drink and I like to smoke." I was like, "I don't see what the problem is." And then she's like, "Can I have my e-cig in here? It doesn't have any weed in it." And I was like, "If you roll down the window." And they kept complimenting my car, and I was like, "Okay, at least they're nice." But it was to where I was like, I thought to myself, am I doing something illegal by picking this woman up from this building that I don't know what it is? And she's acting like, "Oh my God, I just escaped somewhere."
Right.
She never mentioned the word escape, but she kept, because she said, "I just went out to have a cigarette." And because when she's having a cigarette on the bench, second she saw me, she and her sister, she ran into my car. And I'm thinking to myself,
It's so sketchy.
yeah, she said, "I can't." And when I dropped him off the hotel, her sister's like, "Come on, we gotta get in the hotel quick." And I was just like, what the fuck are they hiding from? And I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck? And the one had a fucking ankle bracelet on. She showed me, and she's like, "It's green, so I'm okay." And I was like, "Wait a minute, why are you showing me that?" And she's like, "Well, I'm showing you I'm safe." And I was like, "From what? What's going on? Is someone coming after you, like a cop or a person who wants to harm you?" And she's like, "If it's green, I'm safe." And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know how those things work. I was told you can't leave a certain distance from your property, but I'm like, I was also told during certain points of the day you can. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm not getting involved. I'm just gonna drop them off and go home. Fucking, this will piss me off. I told the man, I was like, "I just made $110 in 2 hours." And she's like, "Cool, I'll come home." And I was like, "I have an hour and 10-minute drive. Fuck."
Oh
And
man.
I was like, "I want to fucking quit this job."
Right.
I also picked up a guy who was drunk, who was pretty much admitted to me he killed his wife without actually saying the words "killed my wife." Just, "I made a mistake. Do you think he goes, you ever pick up somebody and think, "Oh, I just picked up a murderer?" And I was like, "No, why?" And he goes, No, never mind. I pick him up from a McDonald's. Cold Water Road.
No.
Near Buffalo Road.
Oh yeah.
I pick him up on Quaylen Drive, and this guy's like a fucking midget almost. He's like Amanda's height, and he immediately says to me, second gets in the car, drunk. I'm talking drunk. Gets out of McDonald's. Literally taps me on my shoulder from the back seat. Ever pick up somebody and think, yeah, I just pick up a murderer? And I was like, I hope not. And I had the dash cam, and I was like, why? What happened? And he's like, never mind, never mind. And then he goes, man, I don't want to tell anybody this, but my wife pissed me off. And I was like, it happens to the best of us, man. It's why you get married. And then he says to me, he goes, yeah, I don't have to deal with her shit anymore. And I was like, oh, you guys got divorced? He goes, that's what you call it. And I was like, well, what happened? He's like, I shouldn't tell you. He's like, well, you're my Uber driver. I'll probably never see you again. He's like, we got in an argument, and I never got to deal with her again. And I was just like, what happened? Like, did you like kicked her out? And he's like, yeah, you could say that. And I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck is he talking about? And he says to me as he's getting out of his car, and I think it was hush money, really cheap fucking hush money too. He goes, I got something for you. And the way he said it was like this, I got something for you. And I was like, so you know how the fucking Uber app has the 911 assistance? I pulled it up. And I had my finger like an inch from it. And I'm like, I'm fucking calling the police, taking my phone and jetting and leaving my car here. My car is not worth my fucking life. And I was like, what do you have for me? And he goes, 1 minute. I'm thinking to myself, does he have a fucking knife and like cut my throat for like thinking he told me something? He fucking goes like this, pulls out a wad of cash and gives me $5 and says, you have a good day. And I pulled my fucking finger away and I was like, thank you. You have a good day too, sir. I gave that motherfucker 5 stars. I was like, you didn't do anything wrong to me.
Right.
That to me though was I've had those two close, well, 3 now with Ivy. I gotta say this joke. I don't know why her name was Ivy. Either because she's poisonous, or because if you rub up against her, you get a rash. She just seemed like a I don't mean to say this to sound bad, but street rat.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she's prostituted herself. The kids are from different dads. And, like, just does not have any respect because of the way she was treating me.
And that her vagina smells very bad.
It was like, you're my fucking Uber driver. Don't tell me what to do in your own car.
It's like, no, you're getting in my fucking car.
And it's like, look, I'm not going to say, like, suck my dick or anything for a tip. I'm not going to tell you there's anything you have to do. But when you're in my car, don't fucking make a mess of it. Like, that's the one thing I can tell you to do. Do not make a mess. Don't throw shit out the window. Don't yell shit out the window. I mean, I'm driving you in my car, and that's the rules. Keep it cleaner than when you left or when you got in it. And it's like, other than that, it's like, my job is to get them where they're going safely, and without having any issues on my end. That's my job, and I always do it. And it's like, I don't know. It's just being an Uber driver. Half the rides you enjoy, the other half you're like, I can't wait till you're out of the car, just because the way you like look. And I don't mean that like skin color. I mean like they get in, they smell like they've been drinking, and they're like, I like your car, man. And it's like, oh, thanks. And it's like, Uber give it to you, and it's like, no, it's my car. Oh, you must make a lot of money. And it's like, well, Uber pays all right. And I'm thinking to myself, why are you asking me if I make a lot of money?
Right.
And it's like, what are you going to do fucking next? Pull out a knife on me or some shit and tell me to give it to you? Now, what's your worst experience as an Uber driver you've ever had?
My worst experience is I had this guy.
Not Iwa.
I had this guy from South Carolina that I picked up from a bar in Irondequoit.
Oh.
And he actually got kicked out of the bar, and he was yelling obscenities to the person the bouncer. And like he was like going to get into my car, and then with my front door wide open, he goes ahead and he like yells like "fuck you" to the bouncer and stuff. Walks back up to the door with my door open, and I'm thinking like, damn, I should get out of here. But then at the time, I didn't realize that.
You can actually put up that's not safe on the Uber app and leave.
I thought
And they
at the
don't charge you or
time
anything.
that I would have lost the $6 surge that I had, or $7
Oh,
surge.
you had a $7
But
surge.
you wouldn't actually lose it if you felt unsafe and you canceled the ride. You would keep the surge
I don't know
for
how
the
that
next
works.
ride.
Oh.
I didn't realize that, so I'm like, well, fuck that.
Oh my god, I forgot the fuck. I'm so happy I just remembered this. I picked up a woman from a coffee shop on Monroe Ave. And she says to me, she goes, I got a question about your surges. And I was like, okay, my what's? And she goes, your surges. And my mind didn't comprehend the word surges. I just kept hearing, I have a question about your surges. And I was like, she's saying urges? So I said about my what? And she said, your surges. Like, why are the surges so high in this area? And I said, oh, you mean like the surges the Uber has? And she goes, yeah. And I said, I said, I think they're crazy sometimes. I had a $20 surge. I loved that day. I was like, I'm gonna go home after this. Like, I literally came out to make $40, and they were going 23 miles on a $20 surge. That's $40.
Nice.
And this woman though was 5 miles on a $20 surge. Cost her $45. Yeah, I made like $6 from this ride too. That's what fucking sucked. Because where I picked her up, the surge was like right here, and I was here.
Oh,
Yeah.
I reject those.
She
rides.
got charged though for it.
Really?
Yeah, and she said to me, "Why the fuck is this the $20 surge area?" And I was like, "I think the street over is. I don't think it's this one though, which kind of sucks for me." But I said, I don't think you should have to pay $20 for 5 miles. You should pay like $5 for 5 miles, like a mile, like a dollar a mile. I said that I agree with, and she goes, "Then why do you put it so high?" And I said, "I don't choose the surges." And she goes, "Yeah, you do." And I was like, "Uber decides the surges." I said, "To be honest with you, I think I should get paid more." I said, if I'm driving someone 13.5 miles, I want 13.50.
Right.
Like, legit. Like, I heard it's 42 cents a mile or something, but that you also get money from how many minutes they're in the car, too.
Yeah.
And I told her, because, like, my biggest rides are, like, $23, and my, like, smallest are, like, $6. And I was, unless they're in the city, then they're $3, but it's like, they're in the car for a minute. So, 25 minutes at $3 and like a minute, you're like making like $40 almost in like that hour. And I told her, I said, I don't choose the surges. I do not choose them. And then by the end, she was almost yelling at me, calling me a liar. I said, look, I'm gonna show you once I hit end ride. I said, I give you your star rating, and I gave her a 5-star because she can fucking see me doing it. And it popped up five something. I think it was 536. And I said, that's how much I got for getting you and driving you to where you're going. And she goes, that's bullshit. And I was like, how can I make that pop up on an Uber app? I am not the designer of it. That's how much I got from your ride. Uber got the other $35 or 39 something. I was like, I have nothing to do with the payments. If I did, I might charge more sometimes. I said, depending on the customer. And she goes, well, I'm never gonna do Uber again. And I was like, that's your choice. And she still kept flipping out at me like, fuck you. And I said, you know what? I wish I would have got the $45. This is well worth it. The $45. I said, oh, just for this 5 miles with you. I'm like, rudest customer I've ever had. I said, I kind of wish I could have given you 3 stars. And she's like, fuck you. I'm not even gonna rate you. And it's like, please don't, because then it doesn't even show up if you don't fucking rate me. And oh my god, it was just like I couldn't wait till she's out of the car. Finally, she leaves. The next person I pick up, I told him about it, and he's like, dude, I would have told her halfway. I just canceled your trip. Get the fuck out of my car.
Right.
I was like, yeah, but I don't know how these people in the city are gonna react to that. Because it's like you can cancel it all you want, but there's no cop there to escort them out.
Right.
But I've picked up some crazy people. You know how you and I used to go down to Joseph Avenue? I am on that street every day.
Jeez.
I am on that street more than I am on Monroe. And it's because that's where the rides are. Norton, Joseph, Clifford, Avenue D, all those streets, I can make almost $50 in 2 hours doing that. And it's like,
Oh man.
I go through there, and when someone like has an attitude, the second they leave the car, I'm like, I'm making money off you. Fuck you.
Right. No, I hear
I'm
you.
coming into your goddamn area to make money off you, and you're gonna be rude to me. I'm gonna make money off you. And it's just like I don't. What I found is because people will say who will talk to me about the areas I go in, they're like, oh, the fucking black people, and I'll be like, whoa, hold on. There are white people I've picked up that are fucking rude as shit. Then I'll pick up a black guy and he'll be like the nicest fucking guy ever.
Right.
I'm like, I don't. It doesn't. The skin color does not fucking matter. It's the person you pick up.
Right.
And I was on Joseph Avenue one day, and I picked up this. Amos Street. I was near Amos, and I was off of it, approaching Joseph, and I came up to the address that I was picking up, and there were these kids in the car, and they one of them was out of it, the other one gets out of the passenger seat, like the other one's calling him over, and he points to me, and I'm like, okay, that must be the kid I'm picking up, and I'm thinking to myself, this kid looks like he's like a thug. This is gonna be an interesting trip, and I slipped the thing, seeing how many miles I had. I started the trip before he was in the car, see how many miles I had, and it said 1.6 miles or something like that. It wasn't even 2 miles. And I'm like, okay, good. It's not that far, but it's like 1.6 miles in the city is like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, shit. And
I
the
think the
one
same thing.
puts his blunt out on the fucking like light pole. And I'm thinking to myself, at least he's put his blunt out. I'm like, I'm gonna look at it like it's me and Dave, but just like different people. He's putting his blunt out. He's being nice. Like he's not gonna bring it into my car. And then this kid starts giving me dirty looks. And I'm like, I'm gonna cancel this fucking ride. I was like, how do I cancel? I just started it. Fuck. So I'm looking at a cancel, and as I'm looking, I see him looking at his phone, and I'm like, I'm not gonna judge him. Fucking, I'm gonna drive him. And then I see him press something, and it says rider canceled. And I'm like, you fuck. And I called the man, and I said, this racist motherfucker. And she goes, what? I said, this dude, I said, I said, I'm not racist, but this black kid, I pulled up to his house, and he's doing the same stuff me and Dave used to do when we were like, fucking out of our minds, smoking and getting high every day. And I'm like, I'm not gonna be a stereotypical person. I'm picking this kid up. He's probably fucking really chill and just likes to smoke weed outside, like we used to do. I'm like, I'm gonna pick him up, and then the second I'm like in that mind state to where like the whole stereotype thing isn't bothering.
He started the ride before you even got him, though.
Yeah, he fucking canceled it. He cancels it, and I thought to myself, you motherfucker. Did you? And that's the second time it's happened to me in the city. Last time it was this black girl in front of a trap house,
You told me.
and the guys kept giving me dirty looks. And I'm thinking of I texted her saying, I think I see you. I'm in the Blue Equinox, and she canceled the ride, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm thinking to myself, is it just me? Or is this because I'm like, I thought to myself, I'm like, it's probably all in my head. But every time that I'm around people to where I'm thinking to myself, even like some crazy fucking looking white guy, I'll be like, you know what? I'll pick him up. I don't care. He's on like a street corner. Looks like he's selling drugs. But I'll pick him up. I don't give a fuck. I'll take him to 2 miles to his house. They'll cancel the ride, and I'll be like, what the fuck are you canceling the ride for?
Right.
Like, what the fuck? And then I think to myself, I'm not the issue. That person probably felt the same way I did, but different. Like this fucking rich asshole or this middle class asshole's pick me up is gonna judge me. That's what I think is going through their heads. I could be completely wrong, but I'll think that, and I'll be like, you know what? I'm not gonna judge them because if I was in their position, maybe I'd think to myself, fuck that dude. Like I want a black driver, and I don't. I'm not saying that's what they think. I'm just saying I try to put myself in their head to where I'd be comfortable if I could get an Uber. I don't care what your skin color is. I'm hopping in the Uber. I'm fine talking to the person. But I think some people, if you pull up in the inner city, where the majority is like black people, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because it's like poverty. It's like you can tell there's a lot of poverty. You feel bad because it's like damn, like you know. I wish you guys were in a nicer area because you deserve it.
Right.
I don't know any of you, so it's like, I don't know what the hell the story is, but I feel bad because there's fucking wood on the windows and you got a kid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I hate to see anybody in that position. I don't care what your skin color is. But it's like you go in those areas and you see all the stuff going on and you feel bad, but then somebody will do something to you in the Uber to piss you off, and you'll be like, fuck you, I'm glad you're from here. And then you're like, wait a minute, no, I'm being that person. To where it's like what I've noticed is, and from other people I've talked to, 5 black people will wrong them, and then they'll think that's every black person. And I tell them that that's not how it is. There's 5 white people that are the same fucking way. Skin color does not it doesn't fucking matter. So when I'm telling people about my Uber trips, they're like, it's kind of racist, and I'm like, no, because if it was a fucking white guy doing the same thing, I'd be just as pissed, if not more. Like, fuck you, dude.
Right.
And it's like, what's worst experience you ever had? You will stop doing Uber. What's the worst one?
Well, it was the one where I picked up that guy that was causing that issue.
That was the worst one
at the bar. Yeah, because he was saying that he's from South Carolina, and when someone doesn't pay up, they get shot and all that stuff.
Jesus.
And here I am, this guy's in my car, and I'm like, here's this guy talking about some type of square for the Super Bowl, not getting paid by this bar that he says he owes. I'm saying that like, oh yeah, we don't do business like that down in the South. And I'm like, what the fuck? It was a 7-minute awkward ride, and I was
7 minutes. 7 minutes.
That guy was pissed
in an awkward Uber.
That guy
feels like 20.
It feels like 20 hours.
Yeah, it does.
No,
you start doing the thing to your steering wheel, like you're putting your hand on different parts of it, gripping it weird, and then you turn up the fucking air just so there's a noise, and then you put the radio on to a song, and you just like zone out of the song. Okay, I'm gonna focus on the song while I drive, and pretend that I am way more focused on the driving than I am. Just so it seems like my attention's all going to the driving and the GPS.
I didn't do that with that
Pretend they're not in the car.
Yeah.
I've experienced that. Like, I've experienced scary moments. You ever had someone give you a weird look when you pick them up? No. I had a guy legit. I just was going to, like, talk to him. And when I saw the look on his face, I turned away and had my fucking hand on the crowbar while I was driving. I'm going to fucking kill No, I'm not. Like, look at this. I looked back at this one guy, a bald guy, face mask on. All I could see was his eyes. Looking straight at me with this just, with like, these fucking death eyes. And I was like, hey man, what's up? And then I turned around and I was like, crowbar. I had that next to my right knee. I'm like, I'm unlocking the fucking doors. He touches me, he's getting whacked in the fucking head with it. I got a fucking dash cam, and I've had one person, you know what I'm talking about, I've had one person get offended by that dash cam. And I even told her, it's for my safety in case someone tries to kill me. That can happen. And it's like, every time I pick somebody up, the nicer they are, the more comfortable I feel.
Yep.
And 90% of the time, they're like that. But then you pick up that person, it's like, am I picking up a fucking serial killer or a criminal? And you just gotta, like, be on your toes the whole time. You keep looking in the rearview mirror, and while you're looking in the rearview mirror like this, and you're thinking to yourself, you're scaring me.
Right.
Like, I feel threatened.
In your own car.
I can't wait till you're out.
Yeah.
And then when I pull, this is the thing, I'm not afraid about driving them. I'm afraid about when we get to the destination. What the fuck are they gonna do? Because when we're driving, they're in harm if I'm in harm, because I'm the one driving. I could fucking drive us into something. So I'm thinking to myself, there's other people around. If something happens, they see it, kind of, because I'm in the car next to them. But that shit scares the fuck out of me. And it's like, I've thought about quitting Uber. Like, I've had a lot of experiences where I was like, I might die in like a minute. To where I called Amanda afterwards. I was like, I love you. And she's like, what's wrong? Why are you saying that? I was like, I thought I was about to die. Or like, I was going to like kill somebody. And she's just like, what the fuck? And I'm like, this happened to me. Like, what's the worst street you've ever been on? To where you were like legit sketched the fuck out. Or do you not put yourself in those situations? Or is that you've been in that situation? Because the destination, you don't know where that is until you look it up, and then you're like, "Fuck! I already accepted the ride."
Oh man, there was one time, and I gotta get going after this too. I gotta end the podcast, unfortunately.
I mean, hell, we're almost 2 hours in
It's
already.
getting a little bit late. I'm getting exhausted over here. But I think I've never really... Yeah, I don't put myself in those areas. Honestly, what I do is when I've had instances where, like, I'll pick someone up from, like, the Rite Aid on West Main Street or whatever.
Yeah.
And, I find that a lot of people in that area have very low ratings. So if I'm
West Main Street?
Yeah.
In the city?
Yeah.
He said in the hood?
I will reject passengers who have bad ratings while I'm if I'm anywhere near a lower class high crime area, if I don't have the opportunity to turn off my accepting rides right away if I get a request.
What for you is a bad rating?
Under 4.85. If you're a passenger and you're 4.5 or 4.6, you suck.
The lowest I've ever picked up was 4.50.
And that's bad.
They were nice to me though.
Really?
Yeah, they even said the last person I got was a fucking asshole. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, they pretty much judged me because I'm black, and I'm like, I don't care what skin color you are, just be nice to me. And then I was like, what did you do? And they were like, it was a huge misunderstanding, and I even told them, like, because I guess the guy was going a different direction, and the girl was like, what's going on? He's like, it's rerouting me because I took a wrong turn, and she's like, well, where are you going? And he was like, I'm going to your address. And she's like, but you're not going in the direction of my house. And she said she got genuinely scared. Like, what the fuck's going on? Why is he taking me somewhere else? And I was like, that is kind of scary. He probably gave you a low rating because they thought you were like flipping out on him. And she's like, I kind of was, because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why the fuck? Because he said it's rerouting me, but I didn't see it rerouting. Mm-hmm. So she's like, I got fucking terrified. She goes, I'm a girl, he's a guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, anytime when I pick up a guy, I act like it's my brother. And when I pick up a girl, I act like it's my sister, who it's like, hey, like, I'm nicer to the women than I am the men, but I'm already nice to the guys. But I'm to the women, I'm like, hey, is it too cold in here? Read certain radio station you like? Do you want the windows rolled up or down? And I'll try to like talk to them the whole time. Because I think the second there's silence, it's like, I'm a guy and you're a girl. And I don't know you and you don't know me.
Right.
What could happen?
Yeah.
And I think they think that. And I'm like trying to like cut the, what is it, monotony or the something? Trying to cut the tension.
Yep.
Make them feel comfortable. We have been going for 2 hours. A little over, about 2 hours and a minute. I think this has been a great podcast. I probably didn't ask you everything that I wanted to, but that's cool because I could have you on again. Not anytime soon though, because I only do 4 months and I already have the other ones planned.
Okay.
This was fun. Probably one of my best friends I've ever had on here. Again, it's Dave Vacca, Vacca, not Dave Vodka. The one last question to ask you: are you related to Meredith Vodka or Vacca?
I am not related to Meredith Vacca, who is running for county court.
Every time I see her
family
fucking her that sign when I'm like we're at picking up garbage, I'm like, I swear to God that she's related to Dave through like his like great aunt or something.
Yeah, no relation to Meredith, no family court service.
So I hate to say it, but I just gotta think climate change is here. Yeah, they're not wrong. So this was a great podcast. Sad it's over. It's the 4th one. But I think we got some good stuff out of it. Again, if I laughed at when we were talking about trans people in the trans community, it's that I've been drinking. I would never make fun of anybody who is in the trans community. But it was great having you on. I hope you enjoyed the hell out of it, and I hope you got what it's about. I think it's pretty much it's about talking about personal things and things in society, and like laughing your ass off about stuff, but also talking about serious topics too. I want it to be funny. First person I've ever had on here who did not drink 1 drop of alcohol the whole time, which I think is awesome. Like, honestly, this is the most relaxed one I've had so far. Everybody else got hammered, which was fun to record, but it was like, okay, we're getting to where it's like, people are saying stuff real loud and saying shit that sounds like you can tell they're drunk.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
You did a good job. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
But it's unfortunately time to go. I wish you could do it for another 30 minutes, but if you gotta go, you gotta go.
Past my bedtime.
I say we ended it at 2 hours and 5 minutes, which is like 50 more seconds. Rob Novellin's Real Talk podcast. It's free on YouTube. I'm Rob Novellin. Please help make this big. And again, you could be on here. You could be on here in his seat or via Skype or Zoom or whatever if you want to. Talk about whatever you want. I talked a little more this time because I had a lot of questions for him and I want to tell him some stories that you guys probably have or haven't heard yet. But it's great having you on. I love talking. I love telling you about 9/11 because all the crazy shit I've heard. I love seeing your expressions. But I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed having him. Hearing him. And other than that, we're gonna go. I just don't want to end it, guys. I don't want to end it, but I'm gonna end it. By the way, this goes up next Wednesday. Yeah, this is filmed the same day I put up Dan's. I just film them ahead of time, just so I know they're definitely going up that week, the week after. But thank you for watching. Rob Novellin's Real Talk, episode number 4 with Dave Vacca, not vodka, Vacca, Vacca. Don't stalk him and look him up on Facebook. He's not like fame or celebrity stuff, so don't do that. Other than that, you guys have a great night or day. And I will see you on, I think, number 5, unless I've drank too much and it's number 6. I think it's number 5, though. Yeah, 1, 2.
It'll be on 5.
We're on 4 right now.
Yeah, you'll be on 5 next.
It'll be on 5 next, so you'll have a great day, all right? Bye.